Hey guys, this is Carrie, and in this video we're going to be adding some style to our website. So in order to add style, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the head of our HTML document, and we're going to create a style tag. And actually, you can notice that it starts to auto-complete as I type in style. If I press tab now, it will auto-complete both tags for me. What the style tag means is that everything that I want to do in terms of styling my web page, I can put inside of these two tags, and that will style all of the information from the body. The reason why we put the style tag in the head is so that the style gets loaded before the web page gets loaded. So now we're going to go into the style tag and add some style. So all of the code that you type between the style tags is actually in another programming language called CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. And so the way that CSS looks is a little different from how HTML looks, but it uses a lot of the same ideas. So an example of CSS code would be, let's say I wanted to take this header, this H1 on my web page, and turn the color of it to blue. What I can do is I can say in my CSS, select the H1 element, and apply using the curly parentheses, or curly brackets, all of the styles that I list in here. So I can put color dot dot blue. And every statement that you write in CSS has to end with a semicolon. So now what we have is we've got select the H1 tag and make the color of it blue. Let's save this and refresh our web page. All right, so our H1 tag is blue. We can do something similar. Say we want to color the H2 tag red. So select the H2 elements by writing H2 here. Then apply all the styles in curly parentheses, and we'll make the color red. It has to end with a semicolon, but Sublime Text is smart enough to put it there for me. So I'll save it, and I'll refresh, and now my H2 tag has been turned red. All right, something really cool that you can do actually is you can select all of the paragraphs at once. So let's say we select our paragraphs, and we want to make their color green. What this is going to do is it's going to go through the HTML document and select every single paragraph, all the things that are inside p tags, and make them green. So we'll save it and we refresh it. And you notice that just by using that one piece of CSS code, it turned all of my paragraphs green. Whoa, all of my paragraphs green. So you can actually apply more than one style to each of these things. So something that we might do is this green text is a little hard to read. So maybe what I could do is I can make the background for these paragraphs a different color as well. So I'm going to make the background, and notice that, sorry, let's do that one more time. I put an enter here, and then I put my next line of code, I'm going to put another piece of CSS styling. So background, and you can see that there's a lot of different options, but background, let's not do green, let's do yellow. So I'll save this, I put my semicolon at the end, and I refresh it, and now the background of all my paragraphs is yellow. It looks pretty ugly, so I'm going to be relying on you guys to actually do a better job of styling your pages than I'm currently doing, but I just wanted to show you some of the features. What if we take all of our header 3s, so all of my categories that I had here, these are all H3 elements in my HTML. Let's style those. So I'm going to say grab all of the H3 elements and apply these styles. Let's make their color pink and their background black. So now we've got some pretty ugly header 3s, black and pink there, but it is what it is. We're not shooting to make a good looking website here. And then finally, let's style some of the images actually as well. So these images are a little big. I don't like the way they look together. So what I can do is I can say take all of the images and style them so that their height is 150 pixels. Now a pixel is just the smallest unit. It's a square on your page that lights up a single color. So we're going to have all the images be 150 little squares tall. And let's make the width auto. And I'll show you why I'm choosing auto for the width. So before I do that, let me refresh my page. So now when I refresh the page, both images have a height of 150 pixels. That's why they're the same height. But you can notice that the widths are different. And the way that it chooses the width is it automatically chooses the width so that it doesn't change the ratio of the picture So if instead of putting auto here, I put something like 150 pixels for the width too, all of my pictures are going to be squares, but they get distorted. And even worse, if I put something like 20 pixels here, the pictures get very elongated. So by keeping width at auto, it will automatically calibrate the width so that it's the right size to match the height. I think there's one more thing I wanted to show you with CSS, which is right now the fonts for my webpage are pretty ugly. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be choosing better fonts. So in order to choose a font, you can click on the Spotlight app, which is the little magnifying glass, and search for Font Book. Once you get your font book open, this is a collection of all the fonts that your computer has. So you can go through this font book and you can find a font that you liked. And I already did this. I found this font called Hack. Seems very computer sciencey. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, my H1 element here, the big header, I'd like it to have a different font. So the code that you use for that is you type font family, and it has a dash in the middle, dot dot. I'm going to end it with a semicolon, and I'm going to put hack here. So I'll save it, and I'll refresh it. And now I've got this awesome hack font right there. Next up, let's do one more of these. So I'm going to find a font that I like here. Okay, this font is pretty horrible, but looks like it's good enough for us. So I'm going to make all of my H3 tags have that font. So I'm going to find my H3 CSS selector. I'm going to add another line inside the curly brackets, and I'm going to say font family dot dot Herculanum. Save it and refresh it. And you can notice that all of the H3s changed to have this font that I picked out. So fonts are a little tricky actually, and there's one subtle thing that we have to talk about, which is all of these fonts in my font book are the fonts I have on my computer. But on your computer, you might not have the same fonts. So when somebody goes to my webpage and I have the hack font here, if they don't have that font on their computer, like say I put the Hacka font, which I don't have on my computer, and I refresh it, what will happen is that it will automatically default back to the original font that the web page was written in. And we may not want that. So with fonts, you can actually list a couple of choices. So you can have a first preference, you can have a backup pick, which might be something like Courier, another font that I like, and finally another backup pick that might be something like Monospace. So let's save this and refresh it. So now if I add Hacka here, what will happen is, since my computer does not have the Hacka font, it will default to Courier, which is similar but slightly different. And if I change Courier in the same way, my computer does not have the Hacka, it does not have the Couriera, so it will go to the Monospace font. And when I refresh it, it looks like the Monospace font is the same as Courier. Monospace is actually a unique font. That's the reason why it's in blue. Monospace is a font family that every computer has a type of font for. So we'll look at a couple of other font families, but this is a good start. I hope that was enough to get you started with styling, and obviously we're going to be adding more in a couple of future videos.